Hello. So I was going to use my new microphone for this video, but it looks like it needs to charge. I still want to get this video made. Today is Friday, and I talk about the third eye chakra on Fridays. I have two campaigns that help me balance my third eye chakra, which is the Worthy White campaign and the Breaking Brown campaign. So, to talk about the first thing I want to, there's a lot of layers to both of them, but the thing that I want to discuss first that's like fresh on my mind right now is the book How to Talk to Anyone, 92 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships. During this phase, I will be discussing things related to techniques 24 through 37 and 38 through 43. So I'm just going to go ahead and list what those techniques are. Okay, so technique 24. So these are all this is in part 3 from the book, How to Talk Like a VIP. 24, how to find out what they do without even asking. 25, how to know what to say when they ask, what do you do? 26, how to sound even smarter than you are. 27, how to not sound anxious. Let them discover your similarity. 28, how to be a you firstie to gain their respect and affection. 29, how to make them feel you don't smile at just anybody. 30, how to avoid sounding like a jerk. 31, how to use motivational speakers' techniques to enhance your conversation. 32, how to banter like the big shots do. Big winners tell it like it is. 33, how to avoid the world's worst conversational habit. 34, how to give them the bad news and have them like you all the more. 35, how to respond when you don't want to answer and wish they'd shut the heck up. 36, how to talk to a celebrity. 37, how to make them want to thank you. Okay. So, 24, how to find out what they do without even asking. That's on page 95. Okay. So what I learned from technique 24 is what not to say. Okay. So instead of saying at like a party or networking event, you meet somebody and you go, what do you do? That's a common thing people will say. This book is saying don't say that. A better alternative, and I can explain why, but the better alternative is to say, how do you spend most of your time? Because this gives somebody the opportunity to explain what they're actually passionate about, instead of putting the spotlight on, what they do for work, or, because what if they don't like their job, then you say, what do you do? And they have to begrudgingly tell you something that they have to do every single day, even though they don't like doing it, or maybe they're between jobs, or they could be a stay-at-home mother, and they just don't like that question. And I can see why some people, might be kind of hesitant with that question. Or, on the alternative, if they do, have a job like a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist, and you start asking them, what do you do? And they will go on and they'll say those things, they'll talk about that, but that is only giving you one part of their life. And hopefully, with most people, you would hope at least that they have hobbies or passions. If their job is their whole life, then fine. Let them talk about their job. And that question actually does cover their job too. How do you spend most of your time? Well, I spend every single day working at, the company X. And they'll tell you everything you need to know about them, not everything, but it's still going to tell you what they do. And I agree with this rule, this technique, because it really will get people to open up about what they care about a little bit more than just what do you do, And I've said that at multiple occasions, and so that's kind of why I like this book, because there's so many cliches that just go right over my head until they're staring at me in this book, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that makes so much sense. This is just one technique like that. The next technique is called the nutshell resume. It says, just as job-seeking top managers roll a different written resume off their printers for each position they're applying for, let a different true story about your professional life roll off your tongue for each listener. Before responding to what do you do, ask yourself, what possible interest could this person have in my answer? Could he refer business to me, buy from me, hire me, marry my sister, become my buddy? Wherever you go, pack a nutshell about your own life to work into your communications bag of tricks. And I definitely agree with this too. There's another rule or technique in here that I feel is kind of similar to this that I have already practiced using. And it's about, it uses an analogy of throwing a football. And you want to keep the receiver in mind when you're throwing the football. You want to keep your conversation partner in mind. It's kind of like knowing your audience. You want to know what they need to know about you. What about your message is relevant to that particular person? And so that's why I do make I go to great lengths to listen to people and understand their perspective on life or career, worldview, all these types of things. Understanding their personality characteristics really can paint a clearer picture of who my audience is, and that will definitely change. I'm not like a crazy social chameleon, but I definitely want to get better at tuning into each particular person. I think that's a valuable skill, instead of just being monotone or being the same person to everybody. It's not a performance either. It should be genuine. You genuinely want to keep the receiver in mind. You want to keep that person in mind, because it's just a more efficient way to communicate with people. I don't see anything wrong with that. I like that technique. I'm going to say probably just a few more here. I know I stated that 24 through 37 and 38 through 43, those are a lot of pages, okay? And these are a lot of techniques. And honestly, I think all of them are important, and I'm creating a whole training program that involves a lot of these, if not all of them. And so I know eventually I'm going to be discussing each one. So it's going to be a long video if I talk about all of these. So this might be I don't know, a 5 or 6 part series for this particular Friday. Okay, so technique number 26, your personal thesaurus. Look up some common words you use every day in the thesaurus, then, like slipping your feet into a new pair of shoes, slip your tongue into a few new words to see how they fit. If you like them, start making permanent replacements. Remember, only 50 words makes the difference between a rich creative vocabulary and an average middle-of-the-road one. Substitute a word a day for 2 months and you'll be in the verbally elite. This next one is something that I use almost religiously. I like this next technique a lot, and I'll just go ahead and say it. Technique number 27, kill the quick me too. Whenever you have something in common with someone, the longer you wait to reveal it, the more moved and impressed he or she will be. You emerge as a confident big cat, not a lonely little stray, hungry for quick connection with a stranger. P.S. Don't wait too long to reveal your shared interests, or it will seem like you're being tricky. I have done that. I've waited too long to tell people something about myself. I tend to be a little reserved, a little conservative, and I guess I need to practice. A lot of this just comes down to practice. People will do these types of things unconsciously, and so like when you're doing them, when you're practicing new techniques, it's just it is like trying on a new pair of shoes. It can be just a little bit of an awkward fit. Technique number 28: communication. Start every appropriate sentence with you. It immediately grabs your listener's attention. It gets a more positive response because it pushes the pride button and saves them from having to translate it into me terms. When you sprinkle you as liberally as salt and pepper throughout your conversations, your listeners find it an irresistible spice. I love this book. Just like, because they word everything in such an interesting way. It's a very satisfying description of how to talk to people. So it says, this isn't necessarily like a religious book, but they use a lot of like religious cliches. Like I see, they're just talking about the fall of man under a fig leaf in the Garden of Eden. I'm just going to read this. I'm sure when they recovered the flight box from the fall of man under a fig leaf in the Garden of Eden, it will convince the world of the power of the word you. Eve did not ask Adam to eat the apple. She did not command him to eat the apple. She didn't even say, Adam, I want you to eat this apple. She phrased it, as all big winners would, you will love this apple. That's why he bit. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright, it's been 13 minutes. 24 through 37. How many is that? 28. There's 4. Okay. I'll stop with 4. No, I should do 5. Okay. I'm going to do 5. This last one. This is the last one I'm going to read for this video. Okay. Technique number 29. The exclusive smile. If you flash everybody the same smile, like a Confederate dollar, it loses value. When meeting groups of people, grace each with a distinct smile. Let your smiles grow out of the beauty big players find in each new face. If one person in a group is more important to you than the others, reserve an especially big, flooding smile just for him or her. Okay. That concludes part 1 of How to Talk to Anybody, Friday edition.